Hey Rick, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
I was in town and I have a couple coins to show you I think you might like.
On screen, they're the world-famous family of treasure hunters, a tight-knit clan who built a pawn empire from the ground up in the heart of Las Vegas. Millions have watched the Harrisons haggle, laugh, and share their incredible knowledge of history. But behind the polished counters and locked vaults of the gold and silver pawn shop, a completely different and far more turbulent story unfolds. It's a story the cameras never captured, one of whirlwind romances, high-stakes marriages, and bitter divorces. This is the untold story of the women who captured the hearts of the Pawn Stars, the women who saw a side of these reality TV giants that was never meant for public viewing. From high school sweethearts lost to the pressures of fame to bombshell accusations that threatened to dismantle the family image, these are the wives of Pawn Stars. For over a decade, Pawn Stars has given us a window into the fascinating world of historical artifacts and the art of the deal. We've come to know Rick Harrison, the shrewd spotter, his son Corey, the determined Big Hoss, and the unforgettable patriarch, Richard, the old man, Harrison. We've laughed at the antics of their childhood friend, Austin Chumlee Russell. It feels like we know them. But the truth is, we only know the characters they play on television. Their real lives, shaped and molded by the women they loved, married, and in many cases, divorced, have remained largely in the shadows. These women aren't just footnotes in the story of Pawn Stars, they are central figures in the lives of the men we see on screen. They were there before the fame, during the meteoric rise, and often, they were the ones left to navigate the wreckage when the pressures of a public life became too much to bear. Their stories are a compelling mix of love, profound sacrifice, resilience, and at times, intense public drama. To understand the men of Pawn Stars, we must first understand the women who stood beside them, whose influence is felt in every aspect of their lives, from the family dynamics we glimpse on the show to the personal struggles they've faced off-camera. Today, we're pulling back the curtain to reveal the beautiful, strong, and complex women behind the stars, before Pawn Stars became a global phenomenon, before the gold and silver pawn shop was a world-famous tourist destination, there was just the Harrison family. And holding it all together was a woman whose quiet influence was the very bedrock upon which the Harrison empire was built, Joanne Rue Harrison, the wife of Richard, the old man, Harrison. Joanne's story with Richard began long before Las Vegas, back in their home state of North Carolina. A spirited 17-year-old Richard met Joanne at a barn dance, and they married in 1960. Their union would last an incredible 58 years until Richard's passing in 2018. Their early life was packed with challenges. Shortly after marrying, Richard faced a choice between jail time for stealing a car or enlisting. He chose the military, a decision that set the course for the next 20 years of their lives. Joanne became a Navy wife, a role that demands immense strength. Their first child, Sherry, was born with Down syndrome, a situation that brought both immense heartbreak and financial strain. Richard re-enlisted to ensure his daughter received the healthcare benefits she needed, committing to a 20-year career. Joanne stood by him, managing the home and raising their 3 sons, Joseph, Rick, and Chris, while Richard served. Tragically, Sherry passed away at just 6 years old, a loss that undoubtedly bound Joanne and Richard in shared grief. While Richard was serving, Joanne began to flex her own entrepreneurial muscles. She earned her real estate license in 1970 and opened her own office just 3 years later. She was a businesswoman in her own right. When Richard retired from the Navy, he worked in her office, but a real estate market crash in 1981 led to the collapse of their business. Facing financial ruin with only $5,000 to their name, the Harrisons packed up and moved to Las Vegas to start over. It was here they co-founded the Gold and Silver Coin Shop, the precursor to the world-famous pawn shop we know today. While Richard and later Rick were the faces of the business, Joanne was the silent partner, the co-investor, and the unwavering support system. Joanne never appeared on Pawn Stars, preferring to stay out of the spotlight. Yet, her presence was always felt. She was the matriarch who had weathered poverty, military life, the tragic loss of a child, and financial collapse, only to help build a multi-million-dollar empire from the ashes. However, her life after Richard's death took a complicated turn. In a shocking move, Joanne filed a lawsuit against her own son, Rick, in 2022. She alleged that while she was hospitalized and grieving years earlier, Rick had her sign over her 51% ownership stake in the pawn shop. She claimed he failed to provide complete financial documentation for years and stopped sending her payments from her husband's share of the assets. Rick denied the allegations, stating he believed his elderly mother was being manipulated by others for their own financial gain. This legal battle cast a dark shadow over the family, revealing deep fractures the public had never seen. If Joanne and Richard's story is one of steadfast partnership, their son Rick's romantic life is a roller coaster, a series of high-profile marriages and divorces that paint a picture of a man navigating love, fatherhood, and escalating fame. With 5 walks down the aisle, Rick's personal life has had as many twists as a tense negotiation. Rick Harrison's journey into marriage began when he was just 17. His high school sweetheart, Kim, became pregnant. Although they tragically suffered a miscarriage, the young couple decided to marry anyway in 1982. This was long before the fame and fortune. Their marriage produced 2 sons who would become central to the Pawn Stars story: Corey, born in 1983, and Adam, born in 1985. Life for the young family wasn't easy. Rick was working for his father at the fledgling coin shop and repossessing cars at night to make ends meet. Kim was there through these difficult early years. But the pressures of young love and financial struggles took their toll. They divorced in 1985, after just 3 years of marriage. Kim has since maintained a very private life, but she remained a loving presence in her sons' lives. Just 9 months after his first divorce, Rick met Tracy and Hill on a blind date. They married in 1986, beginning what would become his longest-lasting marriage. Tracy became a stepmother to young Corey and Adam, and in 2003, she and Rick had a son of their own, Jake. Their 25-year marriage spanned the shop's humble beginnings to the explosion of international fame from Pawn Stars. But as Rick's public profile soared, Tracy seemed to fade from the picture. She never appeared on the show and was rarely seen at public events. Sources suggested that Rick's all-consuming career was a major point of friction. His constant travel for filming and promotions allegedly left Tracy feeling like a single parent. In 2011, at the height of the show's popularity, they quietly and amicably divorced. Like Kim before her, Tracy has since chosen to live a private life. In 2012, a year after his second divorce, Rick announced his engagement to Deanna Burdett. Their wedding in July 2013 was a lavish, celebrity-studded affair, with Chum Lee as the ring bearer and Danny Coker from Counting Cars officiating. But according to Deanna, who was promised involvement in the show but was never featured, their 7-year marriage was far from perfect. After their divorce in 2020, she broke her silence, describing their union as a performative marriage. She painted a picture of a controlled and distant life, claiming, "He lives in a world where everything revolves around him and his career." Deanna alleged Rick made all major decisions without consulting her and never truly bonded with her 3 daughters. Perhaps most tellingly, she claimed Rick forbade her from speaking to the press, not to protect the family, but to protect his carefully crafted, clean personal image. Her revelations offered a startling peek behind the curtain, suggesting the family man persona on TV was just that, a performance. Rick's romantic life didn't slow down. In 2021, he married his 4th wife, Amanda Palmer, but this proved to be his shortest marriage, ending quietly in 2023. Very little is known about her or the reasons for their swift separation. The cycle continued, and in March 2025, a nearly 60-year-old Rick announced his 5th engagement. His new fiancée is Angie Polishkin, a 42-year-old nurse from Las Vegas he started dating in 2024. Rick proposed during a trip to Chile with a stunning 6.5-carat pear-shaped ring from his own shop, telling friends it was breathtaking. Just like Angie is. He seems completely smitten, telling reporters they'd never been in a fight. He even recounted leaving a date with another woman after 45 minutes just so he could call Angie and ask her out again. With plans for a 2026 wedding, Rick Harrison is once again hoping that the fifth time's the charm. As the heir apparent to the Pawn Empire, Corey "Big Hoss" Harrison's life has been documented since his mid-20s. While the show often focuses on his professional life, his personal life has seen its own share of highs and lows, including 2 marriages and 2 divorces. Corey's first marriage was to his high school sweetheart, Charlene, in 2009, the same year Pawn Stars premiered. After 6 years together, they divorced in 2015. He found love again with Karina, known as Kiki. They tied the knot on May 26, 2017. Unfortunately, this marriage was also short-lived. They announced their divorce in June 2018, citing conflicting work schedules as the reason for the amicable split. In a surprising turn, just 1 month after their divorce was finalized in September, Kiki gave birth to their son, Richard Benjamin Harrison, in October 2018. Despite their separation, Corey and Kiki remain friendly and committed to co-parenting their son. Following his second divorce, Corey seems to have focused on work and fatherhood. His personal experiences appear to have brought a new level of maturity to Big Hoss, whose romantic life has remained private in recent years. Austin "Chumlee" Russell is the lovable heart of Pawn Stars. His journey from Corey's childhood friend to an international TV personality has been remarkable, and along the way, he also experienced love and marriage in the public eye. Chumlee's most significant public relationship was with Olivia Rodman, whom he began dating around 2016. He proposed in 2018 in Hawaii with a 1.5-carat diamond ring. The couple married in a private ceremony in August 2019, but the marriage was surprisingly brief, ending in divorce by 2020. The reasons for the split weren't detailed, but sources speculated that Chumlee's demanding schedule was a factor. Between filming and running his own successful candy shop across from the pawn shop, it's possible his workaholic lifestyle left little time for a new marriage. After the divorce, Chumlee and Olivia appeared to be on good terms for a while, and she has largely stayed out of the public eye. Chumlee has since focused on his career and a significant personal health journey, keeping his romantic life private. The lives of the Pawn Stars cast are a fascinating look at how fame, fortune, and family intertwine. From an enduring, decades-long partnership to a revolving door of marriages, each story adds a new layer to the men we thought we knew. What do you think is the biggest challenge for relationships in the spotlight of reality TV? Is it the pressure, the time commitments, or the money? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more deep dives into the real lives of your favorite reality stars, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more untold stories. The glowing neon sign of the gold and silver pawn shop illuminates a world of history and negotiation. For millions, it represents family, humor, and discovery. But the stories of the women behind the Pawn Stars reveal a much more complex and often painful reality. These aren't just wives or ex-wives, they are the silent partners, emotional anchors, and unsung builders of the Harrison legacy. Joanne Rue Harrison, the matriarch, represents an era of unwavering partnership, providing the very foundation for their empire. Her 58-year marriage is the gold standard against which the more tumultuous relationships of the next generation are measured. Rick Harrison's 5 trips to the altar tell a story of a man searching for a partnership that can withstand the pressures of his career. His wives, from those who knew him before the fame to Deanna, who felt erased by it, all paid a price for his celebrity. Her explosive revelations of a performative marriage highlight the stark difference between a public persona and a private life. For the younger generation, Corey and Chumlee, love has also been a battlefield. Their divorces show that balancing personal happiness with the demands of a global brand is a monumental challenge. While rarely seen on camera, the influence of these women is undeniable. They have shaped the men of Pawn Stars in profound ways, celebrating their triumphs, navigating their struggles, and sometimes, exposing their flaws. Their resilience, sacrifices, and willingness to step away from the spotlight in search of their own peace provide the most valuable lesson of all. The real treasures of the Pawn Stars saga aren't just the rare artifacts, but the deeply human stories of the women who have lived, loved, and endured behind the scenes.